It's a good morning to you. Welcome to Asake Online. My name is Zenzer Ndebele, and this is the Breakfast Club show where we talk about many things that are happening in Zimbabwe, political, social, economic. We always bring you the stories and the news that are happening in our community. So today in our program, it's a bit laid back. It's a holiday. Sigu Easter. We are celebrating the Easter holidays. I know some of you have gone out to Emakaya, to the churches, abasontayo, camps and all those kind of events that will be happening. Please take it slow when you're driving. Just make sure you don't become part of the holiday statistics. So like I said, our program is a bit slow today. We are talking food. We are talking food diplomacy, if I was to say that. So recently there was ambassadors cook-off challenge where different ambassadors accredited to Zimbabwe came in and prepared meals of some sort, and it was quite a good hit on internet. And this program was brought to you by a group of guys calling themselves Team Fulo, who have been doing this food thing for some time. I know those on Twitter, besides Tito Mboweni, who always boils something, or will a fish or and all those kind of things. There are other people who are also doing food, and this was quite a nice challenge away from politics, but involving the diplomats, very important people in our Zimbabwean setup when you're talking about diplomats. So we took time to talk to one of the organizers of Team Fulo, and also the organizers of the Ambassadors Challenge, Joe Sain, popularly known as King J on Twitter. So we asked him how Team Fulo began. What was the motivation behind it? Let's hear what he has to say.
Good morning. Team Fulo started off quite like a joke, really, because it wasn't planned at all. I used to post occasionally, when I'm having, my breakfast or something. I say, okay, let me take a photo. At that time, I think I had about three or four followers. so I thought, look, I got no content, and nobody knows me. So I'm new on these streets. You got 3-4 followers, and you're talking all by yourself to yourself. So I thought, listen, I'll just put some photos of my breakfast and try and show off that I've learned how to cook. Because when I came to England, of course, I couldn't cook. I couldn't boil an egg to save my life. Because as you know, in Zimbabwe, there's a lot of help around in Zimbabwe. I used to come home and find my dinner ready. I used to come home and find the house nicely cleaned and spotless. But not when you come to England, because, only millionaires can afford the help, So I had to learn very quickly how to cook, but that's not the point. Tim Fulo, the suggestion came from one of my followers, my few followers that I had at the time, Ishmael Rupanga. He's based in Australia, but he goes up and down, to Zimbabwe and Australia, like most of the other guys. And he was suggesting that, listen, you seem to like food and stuff like that. You post and you seem to be getting a little bit of traction there. Why can't we just form a foodie sort of handle? And I said, what? A foodie? For what? He says, no, but there is a little bit of interest there. Don't you see the potential? I said, no, I don't see the potential. I'm bad like that, Sometimes I don't see, potential. I'm very bad at that. But he did see it. And I said, okay, there's nothing to lose. How much? There's nothing to lose at all. So we just, he registered Team Fulo out in Australia. He didn't register it, but he just created the handle. And we took it from there, and it was him and I, so at the inception. And, people think it's King J's, baby. It's not, because just because I'm the loudest mouth, it doesn't mean it belongs to me. No, it actually, I give credit to Ishmael Rupanga and his idea that to create this handle. So we then recruited Chef Peligi Peli Matongo. She's a chef, a very, very qualified chef. She's been all over the world. She's been to Kenya. She was in South Korea. Now she's working in Jordan at very, very high places. And, if you are running something and you're a leader, you got to identify the right talent. Because I know nothing about cooking. I stick to my day job in the electrical field. So, and I fancy myself as a DJ sometimes, So, we recruited Chef V, and we later recruited Colin Mutema, Matko, and then we recruited just before the ambassadors cook-off challenge. We recruited a lady called Leah Larson. I think she's based out of Sweden, somewhere there. Is it Belgium? I can't remember. It's bad that I can't remember. But it was a very good move, because she's so talented. I mean, if you see her videos at Cooking with Leah, you'd know. And she's not even she's not a professional chef. She's a home cook. And but she's brilliant, and she's also brilliant at graphics and making short videos and stuff like that. How she does it, I don't know, but that's why we roped her in at the last minute, and we've grown ever since 2020, and we are now on 17,000 followers. So it's great. I mean, it's a happy space. No politics allowed. If anybody can post their food there, and we critique it just as we see it, especially I do. I critique as I see it. If it doesn't look good to me, it's not good food now, because, Chef V always says we eat with our eyes first. And who am I to argue with a professional chef? Yes, so that's how it started, and we're on 17,000 followers now.
You recently held the Ambassadors Cook-Off Challenge, which was a big hit online. We saw a lot of people talking about it, and a huge congratulations to you. Tell us, how did the idea come about?
On the just ended Ambassadors Cook-Off Challenge, I woke up one day and I said, look, I was thinking, I said, if I were an ambassador, let's say I was posted to Finland, I would like to immerse myself in their culture to better understand and better serve, the country, better served by the country that accredits me, so, and also my country of origin. So I was wondering, okay, do they know our traditional foods? Do they know how to cook it? Do they appreciate it? So it was just out of the blue. And I said, okay, I'm going to throw out a tweet and throw out a challenge out there, and whatever happens, if I get one like and nobody responds, I don't care. Because sometimes you don't have to do things just because you think you're going to get 500 likes and nothing materializes. After those 500 likes, then what, So some of us, we're no longer into that Ndudama likes kind of scenario. It's good to have those likes. It's good to have interaction, but sometimes it depends on the post. So I threw out a challenge, and I said to the diplomatic corps, do you guys know how to brew a nice Eifels, which is one of the most popular dishes? I mean, everybody knows how to make a Eifels, even I do, So I was saying to myself, right, I'll throw this challenge out on Twitter. And luckily, I couldn't believe it. The first ambassador to actually respond and accept this challenge was none other than the charismatic British ambassador to Zimbabwe, Ambassador Peter Vowles. He says, look, I'll take up the challenge, no problem. I can cook a high freeze. I couldn't believe that. I went to bed after tweeting, after posting that message or that appeal for, to the diplomatic community. And when I woke up in the morning, I see Ambassador Pete Vowles saying, I'll take up the challenge. And then, I said, I can't believe it. One challenger, that's great. We can do it. And then I see Ambassador Pete Volz, he's gone over to the Canadian embassy. And he's talking to, Ambassador Adler at the Canadian embassy, he's shaking hands and says, "Oh, well, I met my counterpart and we're discussing the ambassador's, high feelings challenge." And I'm saying, what? This guy, and then the next day I see him with Ambassador von Kirchmann, the EU ambassador. And this is, again, Ambassador Pete Volz. He was on fire. I credit him for really, really, inspiring the other ambassadors. Although the other ambassadors were keen, but I would say Ambassador Pete Volz really, really, really went out of his way to push and drum up support for this challenge. Next thing, it was the Australian embassy, and people were tagging. I was asking people, tag the ambassador you'd like to see cook a high feelings. Tag them. Continue tagging them. If they respond or if they don't respond, just tag, retweet and tag. And the posse did it. My followers are so, they're good like that. When people appreciate you, they'll do anything for you. If you respect people, if you treat them nice, they will treat you nice right back. And this is what I find with most of my 99% of my followers. They are so good with me. They are so good with me. And I can banter with them. I can hammer them. They'll come back and they'll hammer me back. That's how we deal. That's how I deal with people. I hate people that are toxic. I don't block many people, but when somebody's toxic to me, I just leave them alone. I never ever comment. I just leave them alone, and I never ever comment on their stuff anymore. But anyway, back to the ambassador's challenge. So we, next thing I wake up in the morning, the ambassador, Netherlands ambassador, Ambassador Vuchwick, she joined. Ambassador, Australia's ambassador to Zimbabwe, Ambassador Pereira, she joined. They were, and altogether there were 8 ambassadors that joined. From the Netherlands, from Turkey, from Australia, of course the UK, Ambassador Peter Volz, Canada, Pakistan, Ambassador Murad Bashir. I was really, and credit to one of my followers, his name is Tim Mtsekwa. He pushed the Pakistan ambassador to Zimbabwe to join. And I was so happy. I said, look, this is great. So altogether, 8 ambassadors had joined.
So what is next for Team Fulo after this ambassadors cook-off challenge? Are we likely to see SADC's president's cook-off challenge?
Doing the SADC president's cook-off challenge? I mean, no, it's not going to happen. And of course it's not going to happen. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves here. Let's not get too carried away. It's not going to happen. It will never happen. I don't think it will happen, because, in Africa, it doesn't happen that, men can go into a kitchen and, to them it's probably a very demeaning thing to be in the kitchen, so I don't think so. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but I don't think so. And I don't have enough clout to actually invite those that level of presidential level. No. I'll be getting too carried away. It's not going to happen.
King, I've seen you rate other people's food, and let me say you are very stingy with marks. So tell us, what's your favorite meal? What do you like preparing?
No, I'm not stingy with marks, man. I just I rate food as I see it. As I said, Chef Pelivi always says we eat with our eyes first. And I tend to agree. And to be honest, if food doesn't look good, it's not going to taste good. It's a psychological thing. So I'm not stingy. I give people 10 out of 10 every time, if they do a good job. It's all fun and banter anyway. It's a happy space, political free space, and it's a very happy space. People should actually follow at Team Fulosism because there's more challenges to come, So if you want to de-stress, run away from those other handles, come over there. Or follow me at King Jism. It's a pretty happy space too. Even if I might say so myself. Quite frankly, I don't like cooking, I'm forced to cook because I'm in England and I got everybody's busy here, So I like cooking when I want to cook, when I really feel like cooking, It's very therapeutic, I must say. But everyday cooking, no, I don't like it. But, when I'm feeling say, today I really want a good, graze, I rustle up a graze. It's very difficult to ask a person because I love food. I love food. Food is life to me. No wonder I'm gaining weight. But I like food. So that's a very difficult question. It depends on my craving, But, steak, of course. I mean, come on. Who doesn't love nice, juicy T-bone or a rump steak with a lot of fat on the edge? Who doesn't like that? You gotta like that. I like some oxtail as well. Everybody likes oxtail. But nobody makes better oxtail than I do. Wink, wink. Yeah, but I love most foods, and I'm not a very good cook, but I do pull out some miracles sometimes, you give me the braai stand and I'll show you how I do things, So that's basically it. I also like curries, like now and again I like a good hot curry, in my community they could make good curries, better. I mean, in England I've never tasted curries like what they used to make in Arcadia, Trinance, Thorngrove, BG, those women could make curries, and they still can. Yeah, so I would say curry, chicken curry, beef curry, lamb curry. I love that. I love it. I'm even salivating just talking about it.
So now that the challenge is done, and just maybe update us, who were the winners of this challenge?
Yes, this year's, the inaugural champion of the Ambassadors Cook-Off Challenge is Mrs. Christine Mendes from the World Food Program Zimbabwe. She came first. Second place went to Canada's ambassador to Zimbabwe, Ambassador Adler Aristilde. He came second. Third place went to Amai Manyama, as she's popularly known now. Everybody, she really resonated with people. Amai Manyama is the Australian ambassador to Zimbabwe, Ambassador Minoli Pereira. She came third. In fourth place was Ambassador Murad Basir. He came fourth. He was in the finals. He came fourth. Yes, he did. But all the ambassadors that participated, 8 of them, all of them, they are all winners. We had a fantastic time, and we had a great time, hosting this. It was hectic. Behind the scenes, it was a lot of work. And kudos to my team, Leah Larson, Colin Mtema, Belisa Matongo, Chef Belivi, Ishmael Rupanga. We worked around the clock in the back rooms there, and zero budget. We had zero budget, nothing, but we made it happen. And the ambassadors made it happen. So, congratulations to the winner, Mrs. Christine Mendes, Deputy Director, Country Director at the World Food Program in Zimbabwe. Congratulations to all the participants. You did great. And next year we want to host an even bigger event. This time we've learnt a lot of lessons. So next year is going to be greater. Thank you for having me.
It was quite a breath of fresh air, let me say. You know, Twitter sometimes can be very toxic, people arguing and insulting each other. But this was something that kept us focused because we wanted to see which ambassador was going to prepare what. And of course, thanks to the various sponsors who came in to support this program. And of course, to the team themselves for pulling such an interesting concept. I'm sure there are other people looking somewhere and saying, you know, we also want to do something like that. And before we end the program, let's hear from the ambassadors themselves telling us what it was like working on this challenge and their expectations and experiences.
A shout out to Team Fulo and a shout out to Chef King J. It was so much fun for me. It was so amazing to see how we all got together virtually around the High Firiti. It was such an amazing experience, and I'd like to congratulate all the ambassadors and the diplomats who took part in this challenge. For me, it's not so much about who wins, but just the spirit with which the High Firiti that is made from Zimbabwean ingredients, Zimbabwean homegrown food, brought us together and brought us so much joy over the last few days.
Hello everyone, my name is Adler Aristide. I'm the Ambassador of Canada to Zimbabwe. As we enter the final round of voting in the Ambassadors Cook-Off Challenge, the short video here is to say a big thank you to everyone involved in this wonderful initiative over the past few days for the incredible spirit of community, togetherness, fun that they showed as organizers, as sponsors, as participants in the High Firiti Challenge. The Ambassadors Cook-Off Challenge has clearly taken the nation by storm. It's been such a culturally rich and galvanizing initiative for all of us by Joe Hussein and Team Fulo Zim. For someone like me, still new to Zimbabwe as Ambassador of Canada, an absolutely incredible personal experience, getting to interact with so many more Zimbabweans in just a few days, most of them young, enthusiastic, and very funny. I also learned more about Zimbabwean cuisine in 1 week than I had over the previous 7 months, because all I was doing before was eating the food, asking what it is, and saying whether I like it. Now I had to do extensive research and spend extra time with our chef to learn and do it on my own without embarrassing myself. And beyond the cooking, I also discovered that great piece of Mbira music, which I use as soundtrack for my cooking video, and on and on. I had so much fun. So on behalf of the Canadian Embassy and myself, thank you, Team Fulozim. Thanks to Olivine Industries, the event's main sponsor, for being a part of this. And thanks to you, all of you, who followed, commented, and had fun with this on social media, just like us. See you soon.
This is Bernard Kasnaklı. I'm the Turkish ambassador to Zimbabwe. I'm very happy to be part of High Firiti Cook-Off Challenge. When I first heard about it, I immediately want to be part of it. The reason is, this is an excellent way of cultural exchange. What could be better than practicing yourself cooking a Zimbabwean dish? Of course, cuisine is a gateway to culture. So I would like to thank King J and Team Fulo Zim for the kind invitation. I also would like to thank the followers. What an amazing interaction. I even saw Turkish comments. Thank you very much. What I realized going through comments, maybe I missed some of them, but I trust the humor and friendliness of Zimbabwean people. Like Turkish people, Zimbabweans also love their food. It's not only about our love to food, but we also love talking about it. I was asked to share my experience during the cook-off challenge. First of all, I must say, cooking the High Firiti was not so difficult for me. The reason is because the Turkish food we cook daily at home is very similar to this. We use a lot of vegetables, staples, Even the way onion, garlic, tomatoes are used are similar. However, when it comes to sadza, I must say it was a little bit more difficult. We are more used to as side dishes pilau, what we call, that is rice or bulgur. But sadza was a first for me to cook. And the difficulty is probably it comes with practice, that to find the right texture of sadza. It will come, I'm sure, with some trial. High Fritzi Cook-Off Challenge made me step out of my daily routine, learn something new by practicing it in a fun way. I really appreciate this. Of course, while cooking, I also again realized how fertile Zimbabwe is, how the Zimbabwean soil is providing nutritious and delicious fresh food. Having said that, of course, I also realized while cooking all these fresh food and sharing it with friends, not everyone is as lucky as we are. There are today hundreds of millions of people who are suffering from chronic hunger due to war, poverty, or extreme climate events. This made me think, how could I personally be a more conscious consumer and try to achieve zero waste. I again would like to thank Team Fulo Zim, King J, followers, and of course, last but not least, to my fellow colleagues. It has been a really fun experience, and I think we are all winners. Teşekkürler, Maytabasa.
Hi everybody, it's Manoli, the Australian Ambassador here. I wanted to say what a great experience it's been cooking my very first Haifaridzi and Sadza. Thanks Team Fulo for bringing us together for this challenge. What a great idea and what a wonderful way for us to really demonstrate the motto of Team Fulo, which is graze, banter and friendship. It certainly was all of those things, and what a wonderful insight into true Zimbabwean culture. Thank you to all of our followers and our unofficial advisors for all of your words of encouragement. It's been a tough challenge, but so much fun. So now it's time to sit down, put my feet up and enjoy my big, very big cup of mahel. Thank you.
Akadi Dinonzi Pete Vowles, British Ambassador to Zimbabwe. Vakuru Vakati, Hukama Igajra Inozadziswa Nekujuga. The relationship isn't complete until you've eaten together. And nevermore has a statement been more true than this weekend, thanks to the work of Team Fulu for the Haifaridzi Challenge. A weekend of laughter, of bonding together, of banter, of jokes, and cooking Haifaridzi. It's been a fantastic weekend, and I loved every minute of it. I've taken off my cooking apron, put my suit back on, but can't wait to see the results later today. Maitabasa.
All right, so here we arrived, ready for the Haifaridzi challenge. We have all the ingredients here, and I learned actually in Highfields that it should be very simple. So no other things, tomato, onions, kuvo, meat, milli meal, and here we go and are ready. Now some hot water to my sadza.
Well, this brings us to the end of today's program. Like I said, it's a holiday, sipholile, siyakhuleka, and all those kind of things. This is time for family gatherings and ukuthonisisa amacala ukuthi ubani wenzani. Since we holiday, people are here now, so ukuthonisiswa. I hope we are having all the good time, and we decided to go it slow today over the holidays and talk about the Ambassadors Cook-Off Challenge, which I strongly believe this was a good initiative, but also, tells us about our diversity, our uniqueness, and that sometimes we don't always need to argue politically. There are other things that can bring us together, and food and sports are some of those things that bring us together. We don't have to argue about many things because we have a lot in common. So big up to the team that came up with this idea, and we hope that we'll see more of those ideas and more activities and events that bring us together. My name is Zenzele Ndebele. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your holiday.